Howdy, folks, and welcome to class. I am your professor, Bowden Maddox, and first up in the ARK University, we're going to give you the most important lesson of all, and that is how do you survive the first day. When you first launch ARK Survival Evolved, and it is a survival game after all, so survival is kind of important. When you launch it single player, when you create a local server, which is equivalent of single player, or if you connect to a multiplayer server, first thing you're going to do is create a character. So, spend your time doing that. Keep in mind a few important things here. One is, whatever you decide here for your character, you're not going to be able to change that for this character. If you ever want to change it, you're going to have to start a whole new character, which means whole new levels and everything. So be very careful how you want to do that. You can be either male or female. There's a whole bunch of skin color selections, depending upon what you will prefer. All sorts of adjustments. You can have crazy looking characters. There's even some presets if you want to pick certain presets for male or female as well. Also, if you find a design you really like and you want to play in multiple places, you can actually save that as a preset. And I've got a preset here for my character, who is female, by the way, Astrid Maddox. It's interesting that if I have a male and I load Astrid Maddox, it comes in a certain way. If I have a female and I load Astrid Maddox, it comes in a certain way. Interesting. Okay, you want to also pick your location, your starting location. Now, if you want to survive better, you're going to want to probably pick somewhere in the southeast. You don't want to go over here because this is swamp, and if you pick these zones, when you first come in, it's kind of a glitch, I think, in the game, but you can't really see where these zones are. But picking south is probably a good place to start, unless you've played the game before or somebody tells you where to go. You probably want to pick somewhere in the south. So let's pick a south 2. Also down here, we're create name. You're going to want to pick a good name here too, because that's also another thing that can't easily be changed. So we're going to go ahead and pick that, and we're going to create a new survivor. First thing you do is you wake up on the beach. So the beaches in ARK are fairly safe. They're not too complex. There's not a lot of bad things here. There's a couple of little things that might get you. Little dinos will come around. Dilos will come around. Things of that nature. But mostly on the beach, you're going to be pretty safe. You're going to be faced with little things like dodos, which will come in very useful in your first day of survival. One of the first things you're going to want to do is check out your map. If you hit your M key by default and bring up your map, if this is the first time you've ever played on ARK, on the island, as we call it, it's not going to be filled in. It's just going to be a little hazy filled in area around where you are. And some servers allow you to pin, or local options allow you to pin, put a little pin where it says me. Others won't do that. You'll just have a map and coordinates, and you have to kind of figure out where you are based on your surroundings. As you can see, I'm in the south. I'm kind of southeast direction. And you'll also notice the northwest is all white on this map, and that is a very cold area. So probably don't want to spawn there first because you'll probably freeze to death pretty quickly. Nobody can start out as a character and survive there for very long. So probably not a great place to start spawning with a brand new character. Eventually you can move there if you like it, but yeah, stay to the south right now. Stay on the beaches. That's probably going to be your best bet. Now, for your first day or for your first couple of days, you're probably going to want to stay on the beach, like I said. Going deeper into the woods is where you get a lot of predators. Going up into hills or mountains are definitely where you're going to get a lot of predators. In this particular case over there on that beach is good too. Now, deep water is also pretty bad. In fact, a lot of rivers are pretty bad because you've got some predators in there. If you go deep into the water, you'll find megalodons, sharks. Don't see any right here, but you can find them in here. Further down out there. And also you'll find mega piranha, which are carnivorous fish as well, so you'll want to avoid them. First thing you're going to want to do is check your inventory, and you do that by hitting the I key by default. It brings up this little thing, this little gem in your wrist, which will let you see a lot of important statistics. You'll have some starting items, some dino glasses you can put on a dinosaur you tame later, a little hat skin you can put on your first armor, your first clothing item for your head, if you like, and also a skin for a parasaur saddle. But for now, we're going to ignore all of that. And what we're going to do instead is we're going to check the Craftables item, or tab, pardon me. And in the Craftables tab, you've got a couple of items that everybody gets in their Craftables already unlocked. You can make a stone pick, and you can make a torch. Both of these are going to be kind of important. If you hover over the item, it tells you in red over there that you need 1 stone, 1 wood, and 10 thatch. How you get wood is by whacking wood, if you will. Now, you can hit any sort of a tree or fallen tree, so those standing trees will work, and these fallen trees will work too, and you just punch them, and you use your attack key for that. And you notice I've gotten 7 thatch, 9 thatch, and a wood. I've got enough thatch now. Now I need a stone. Now, you can't go up to one of these big stones like over here and start punching it. It's not going to do any good. You can't do that with your fists. But you can run around and look for little stones on the ground like right here and use your use key. By default, that's E. And just pick it up. And as you're doing that, you're probably going to start leveling up pretty soon like I just did. And when you bring up, and you notice at the top of the screen it says level up is available, bring up your inventory, you're going to have the ability to add to your characteristics. As you get more experience with the game, the characteristics are going to make more sense. Right now, I'm going to pick health because I think I want a little bit more health. And when you come in here after you've leveled up, you notice you have engram points to spend. And these are things you can learn to make. By default, you could make the pickaxe and the torch. But if you want to learn how to make a spear, you can spend points on that. If you want to learn how to make a hatchet, you can spend points on that. I only have 2 points left, and there's really not a lot I can buy with 2 points. So I'm going to go ahead and just close and save those 2 points for now. But I am going to come in here and I'm going to make my pickaxe. And once I make my pickaxe, I'm going to be able to make things like a spear and a regular hatchet, because those require flint. The only way to get flint is to use a pickaxe. Now I can leave the pickaxe in my inventory and click use, and when I exit out, it's in my hand. Or I can drag that to somewhere on the hotbar down here. And once I've dragged something on the hotbar, you'll see at the bottom of my screen a hotbar appears. And those keys, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, correspond to the item. And if you press the key for 1 to bring up the pickaxe, you press it again, it'll make the pickaxe go away. So let's bring the pickaxe up. Let's run over to one of these big rocks. Let's whack it a little bit. Now, by the way, I don't know if there's any examples here. But, no, there aren't. But the big rocks are what you want to hit for flint, like this. You see I got some flint. In fact, I'll get some more from it. I get a little bit of stone as well. There's also sometimes piles of rocks on the ground that look bigger than a single rock, but those can also be whacked. I'm not talking about this. These are pretty much single rocks. So you might want to look for those as well. So what do we need to make our spears? We're going to need more wood, and we're also going to need some fiber. Now, before I make the spears, I want to go ahead and make the stone hatchet. So I need 1 wood and 10 thatch for that. We know how to do that, but I can also use my pickaxe. I don't have to hit it with my fists. If I hit it with pickaxe twice, I get my thatch, and if I hit it again, I'm probably going to get a piece of wood. There we go. Eventually get a piece of wood. And I can now manufacture our hatchet. Now, hatchets are really good about getting wood and a little bit of thatch. Pickaxes are very good about getting thatch and a little bit of wood. So keep that in mind when you're doing stuff. So since I need more wood, I'm going to go ahead and pick my hatchet, start whacking some trees, get more wood. Now my harvest rates are turned up on this particular example that I'm using, just for demonstration purposes. Most games you go into, you're not going to harvest that much wood or thatch from a given tree. Just keep that in mind. I've leveled up again. Let's go ahead and throw a little bit of that into stamina so that I can keep doing things without having to rest. And at the moment, I'm not going to learn any other engrams, but I want to figure out what I need for spears. I need more fiber. Now, fiber is something you harvest from little bushes, like these bushes up here. And you do that not with any tool, but with your hands. You got to get rid of all of your tools. If you had the hatchet up with 2, you just press 2 again to make the hatchet go away. Walk up to a bush like this and use your use key on it, and you notice I'm picking up berries and fiber. Now, the berries are important as well because until you start cooking meat, you're going to have to eat those berries to survive. So we've got a bunch of fiber. Let's go ahead and go to the craftables. And we can build 3 spears. I recommend you build at least 3 spears. Spears tend to break randomly, actually. It's not a durability thing. They just have a random chance of breaking every time you use one. You can also throw them, which is really handy. In fact, we're going to demonstrate that in a moment. Let's throw those down on our bar. Now, I mentioned the berries. First thing you want to notice is on the right side of your screen, the bottom of the right side of your screen, you're going to have a bunch of indicators. The top indicator is a little arrow pointing up. That tells you how much your experience is gaining to the next level. When that arrow fills up, you will gain a level. You will advance and have engrams to spend. And you'll get that green text at the top that says you have a level up available. The item underneath that is a little weight. When that fills up, you become encumbered and you can't move. So the higher it gets, the slower you're going to get, actually. The one right below that is a water drop. That is indicating how thirsty you are. Right now, I've got a pretty good supply of water. I've only got a little bit missing at the top. The one below that is your food supply, that little piece of meat. That's dwindling a little bit, and to replenish that, I can come into my inventory and I can take some berries and I can use them. One at a time adds about a point of food. Now, I can also drop it down here on the bar, and I can press 5, in this case, while I'm doing other things. while I'm moving around or what have you and feed myself. That's one way to get your food supply back up. You'll also notice that the food indicator is a paler shade of green right now. That means you're actually ready to, defecate. And if you press the Z key on your keyboard, you will defecate. And defecation is kind of important in this game because feces is a vital ingredient in farming and producing advanced crops which allow you to tame animals better. So it's something to consider. Right now, you probably can ignore your poop. Now, there's another form of food, and that is meat. And the first thing you want to do if you want to survive is do not attack these guys. These trikes, these triceratops, are very peaceful, but if you attack them, they will almost certainly kill you in the early stages. So you might want to avoid them. Who you do want to get are the little dodo birds that we saw before. Now, if we can just find one, I'll show you what I mean. There's one right there. Now, there's different ways to attack with the spear. You can press your attack key, and it actually stabs. And this is what causes them to break from time to time randomly. Or you can line up your shot. If you have a crosshair, you're going to be even luckier. If not, you're going to have to kind of guess your center of your screen and shoot for the animal. And the head is always a better shot. Does more damage. So I was able to kill it, and then I walked over the animal and picked up the spear, in case you didn't notice. Now, to harvest things from an animal, there's two choices. You can use the pickaxe if you want to harvest mostly meat, or you can use the hatchet if you want to harvest mostly hide. Right now, we want some meat because I want to demonstrate cooking the meat. So you're going to get mostly meat and a little bit of hide with the pickaxe. Now, to cook this meat, we're going to have to build a campfire. We had some Ingram points to spend. I'll go back in there under my inventory, and I will pick the campfire. So let's go over here and actually construct a campfire. Let's see what it requires to construct a campfire. It requires a little bit more stone. So we'll actually walk over here and just pick up some stones. That should be good enough. Okay, got enough stone. Now, placing your campfire, you can construct it in your hand. Not a problem. I'm building it as you see. But actually placing it takes some consideration because you're probably going to want to place it where you're going to be coming back for a while. And the best places to put it are either on the beach so that not too many things are going to get you. But if you get too close to the water, especially along a river, you can get sarcos, which are big alligators who will come out of the water and attack you. So another good place to put it is by a big rock just up a little bit from the beach. It's kind of sheltered, like, well, I don't know, right here. We'll make that our campfire. So let's go and throw some wood in there because you need wood to burn in the campfire. And we'll also throw our meat. We'll go ahead and light that. And while that's cooking, we'll spend a point here on movement speed. Now, I'm going to have another video later on, another university video that teaches you about the characteristics and what they mean. And, we'll play with some potions you can make to reset all your characteristics and reassign them at different times. But for now, I'm just going to pick some of the more useful ones in the beginning. All right, our meat is cooking. We should have a piece now. We do. You can either eat it directly here, or you can put it down on your hotbar. And when you do, a piece of cooked meat restores 20 health points, I believe. 20 food points. Okay, now that we have a campfire and we have some meat and we're able to survive a little bit here, it's starting to get a little dark. So what we want to do now is probably construct that torch that we heard about in the beginning. And that only requires one piece of wood. I've got some in the fire here, so I'm just going to grab a piece out. If you double-click on an item in a container, like a campfire or a storage box or anything like that nature, it'll bring back one item from that stack. If you hold down your Shift or Control key and you double-click, it'll bring back 5. So you notice I've got 6 now because I double-clicked and then I hit Shift and double-click. And the same is true the other way around. Now, if you hold down your Shift key and you drag a stack, you'll split it in half. I've got half of it here. If you can drag the entire stack out, you'll drag the entire stack out. I need to put that back in there so we can continue to cook our meat. But I'm going to take one piece of that and I'm going to construct our torch. Here we go. Now, torches are very, very important, especially in a standard game where you don't have control over the gamma on the screen. If you have control over the gamma, you can actually make it brighter. But you see the campfire is keeping this area kind of lit, but if I want to go anywhere else, it's pretty dark. But if I bring up my torch, I should be able to see pretty well. And torches have another benefit, too. If you right-click, the torch can be thrown on the ground as a sign or a steady source of light. And you can walk back up to it and just pick it up with your use key. Of course, you have to reuse it in order to make it the light back. But if you have several torches, you can kind of drop those as a little trail for you. If you're going off somewhere and you're not sure how to get back, drop a bunch of torches on your way. You know, one as far as you can see the previous one, basically. So it's a nice little trail. Better hurry, though, because they do have an endurance, and they will wear out after a while. So I think I've taught you enough to survive your first day in the ARK. Just don't go too crazy. Don't go inland right now. Not until you've built up and that sort of thing. You're going to want to learn more engrams. You're going to want to construct more things, more spears. You're going to want to hunt for more meat. That'll give you more experience, and you can unlock more things. You're going to want to first get to the point where you can start building some clothing, constructing some clothing. You're going to want to also construct your sleeping bag and or a bed so that when you die, you come back to the same place. You can spawn at the bed. If you die without a bed or a sleeping bag, you have to spawn at a random location. Now, you can pick the same zone, but it's not necessarily going to be in the exact same place. So you want to get back to your stuff. So anyway, folks, I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you learned something, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye.